Fire Radio.
Firehouse software got you buried in tabs, logins, and paper sign-in sheets. You've got one system for training, another for reporting, something else for alerting, scheduling, inspections. You get the idea. That's why departments across the country are switching to Alpine Software's Red Alert, the tailor-made fire service software that brings everything together in one system with one bill and no more paperwork. Red Alert replaces your pile of platforms with a single, customizable solution that handles training, alerting, inspections, truck checks, percentage reports, award points, ISO prep, OSHA tracking, the list goes on, everything you do your way. No two Red Alert systems are the same. Alpine builds your software around the unique needs of your department. And when it's time to switch, Alpine will convert all your old data with no setup fees at zero risk. Their entire team is based in Rochester, New York, which means no support runaround. You can pick up the phone and speak to somebody who understands the fire service and gets your issues fixed. With over 30 years of trust and an average customer tenure of 19 years, Alpine's mission is to be the last software purchase your department ever makes. It's battle-tested, firefighter approved, and nearest ready. So if you're ready to save time, reduce costs, and finally get control of your operations, visit alpinesoftware.com for a completely free consultation. That's alpinesoftware.com. Red Alert by Alpine Software. Built for the job, backed by firefighters. This episode's brought to you by EaseAlert HeartSmart Alerting Solutions. Have you ever been jolted awake by a blaring station alarm only to sprint out half asleep, heart pounding? That's that legacy fire station alerting system, and it's doing much more harm than good. So meet EaseAlert, the world's first HeartSmart firefighting alerting system. Designed by firefighters, proven by science, their purpose-built alerting devices deliver vibration and visual alerts, shaving seconds off of turnout times while improving health for the first responder. EaseAlert isn't just about comfort, it's about safety. Firefighters are 14 times more likely to die from heart attacks during alarm responses than during non-emergency duties. EaseAlert's HeartSmart system slashes stress, improves performance safety, and allows you to be the best firefighter you can be, on duty and at home. From bunk alerts and wristbands to dispatching consoles, display boards, and firehouse lighting, every component is purpose-built by firefighters for firefighters. No more missed tones, no more startled response, just fast, smooth, safe alerts. Fire departments across the country like Mission, Texas, and St. Augustine, Florida, report calmer crews and faster turnout times. And their chiefs even say that the system is battle-tested and firefighter approved. So are you ready to switch? Visit easealert.com and discover how silent alerting can save time, reduce stress, and improve safety for you, your crew, and your community. Visit easealert.com to learn more and tell them National Fire Radio sent you. First off, good morning. Thank you for being here. The opening was great. Having a fire chief pitching his own fire department to the crowd is fantastic. That's a chief that gets it. He talks about being with like-minded people. That's what's in this room this morning. You guys don't belong here. You guys are the ones that are making the difference in the firehouses every single day. It's the guys that aren't here that need to be here. Because the next couple days, and unfortunately I have to jet right after this, but the next couple days is going to be filled with brotherhood and sisterhood, tactics and strategies, mental health, culture, everything that pushes this job forward. That's what we need, and that's what we need more of. And all of you need to be stewards of that. All of you need to take what you hear in the next few days, bring it back to your firehouses, back to your kitchen tables, back to the back bumper, and talk about it. And then drag somebody else's asses here to get here to hear this message, because it matters. So I just want to thank you guys for being here this morning, dealing with me, and I just want to thank the crew from Key City for inviting me here this morning. So with that said, I'm going to get started. Let me just look at the clock because I know we're on a time schedule. Okay. So good morning. My name's Jeremy Donch. I'm the founder of National Fire Radio. If you're not familiar with National Fire Radio is a podcast and social media platform in the American Fire Service. I get to have the coolest job in the world. I travel all over the country talking to the coolest people in the fire service, regular dudes and women who pass or push this job forward every single day. There's incredible movers and shakers in the fire service, guys that speak on a national level, people that have incredible experience. Their pedigrees are top shelf, and they bring an important message along the way. But man, do I love talking to the regular dudes, the guys that are riding these trucks every single day, that share an incredible passion for the fire service and have a story to tell. They just don't have a place to tell it. And so for me at National Fire Radio, that was one of the reasons why I started what I started, was to capture these stories in perpetuity, that we can share the passion and love for this job and pay it forward. This is a picture of my old man. He's my hero. He's my favorite person in the world. A little bit of my story this morning and how this presentation goes is I give you a little backstory about myself, and then we roll into what National Fire Radio is and some of the topics and issues that we like to tackle. And so this is my old man, Tom Donch. It's the family business. Now, we're volunteer firefighters. I am not a career firefighter. Had every opportunity to, and I'm going to go into that story, but I stayed with the family business, and the family business is volunteer firefighting, but it's also a private company that we owned at one time, Tri-State Bearing. I went to college. My parents afforded me the opportunity to go to a 4-year school. They paid for my education, and I felt indebted to them. I had every opportunity to get hired. I deferred the job twice when I was 20 years old. I could have been on the job 27 years right now. But I deferred it because I felt that I owed my parents and my father at least to get my bachelor's degree since they were paying for my education. And so I stayed in college. I deferred the job. And when I was in college, if I wasn't at the bars or hanging out, I was at the firehouse, and we were running fires. It was a great place. Combination department. We'd go to fires on the weekends for sure. So if I didn't want to have a couple cocktails with the boys, I was at the firehouse running fires. And it was a fantastic time. And I enjoyed that. But the family business called me back. And so I deferred the job. I didn't go into the fire service at that point in my life as a career firefighter because I felt that I owed it to my father and my parents for paying for my business. The problem is when I graduated college, I came home and I was that entitled kid. I was Tommy Boy. Hands down, I was Tommy Callahan. You're all familiar with Tommy Boy, I hope? Please, thank you. It's one of the best movies ever produced. So anyway, this was my life. Fat, drunk, and stupid. There's no way to go through life. And I was doing that, and I was the king of it. So when I got home, I was supposed to dive right into the family business, and I did. And I got my American Express card. I got a car to travel with, go see clients. I was an outside salesman, but I was such the boss's kid. I was so entitled. I didn't learn the family business. I didn't learn the job. Well, fast forward 2008, 2009, the economy tanks out. And for those of you that are old enough to remember, there was quite a correction that came at that time. I had breakfast with my father that morning. He says to me, "It's you or employees. Who's going?" I didn't understand it because I was so wrapped up in my own nonsense that I didn't even understand that the company was struggling. I didn't even understand that my father had to make a decision between his own child and employees that he employed for many years. That day I had to grow up, and I did. I decided to stay with the company, took away that Amex, took away the company car, put me behind a desk, and I started answering phones. We had to let people go that day, so it was either me or them. My father stood behind me in my decision, but he was ready to let me go. He finally had enough of Tommy Boy. It was time for me to grow up. And that's why I tell this story, because a lot of what I do today, I'm a very different person today than I was years and years ago. And that's why I tell this story, because entitlement is rampant. It's not just the fire service. It's any career. It's anywhere you go in life. Entitlement runs wild. And we need to scale that back. And the only way we could do that is when we take accountability for our own actions. And it took something serious like that the family business was ready to go under and we had to lay people off for me to wake up and realize there's more to life, that I can't just go through life fat, drunk, and stupid. As I learned the family business, I got pretty damn good at it. I started growing our family business. For me, it was a game, and I went all in on it, right? Because I still had this debt of gratitude to my parents and my father. My father, like I said, was my hero, and so I knew that I had to go all in because he put everything in on me to keep me. And so now I'm all in and I'm learning the business and I'm getting pretty damn good at it. And what happened with that was, now the other thing starts to happen. I'm the youngest of 3 boys. My 2 brothers are firefighters. My father's a firefighter. I'm a firefighter. We all work together too. So we're spending time in the firehouse together. We're spending time in our private business together. You know what we stopped doing? Seeing each other on the weekends. We stopped having barbecues. We stopped hanging out with each other. We actually started resenting one another. Family businesses are super tough. Very tough. Compound it this way. I'm the youngest of 3 boys, and now I'm in charge because I got very good at this job. So now I'm my brother's bosses, my 2 older brothers. I'm the boss. Now I'm starting to tell my father what to do. Well, it started swinging the other way. I went from entitlement to overzealous, too confident. It's these emotional swings, things in life. This is how the game plays out. And so what I found was I was building a family business for my family, nothing for myself. I felt that I had to support and build for them because I was the guy. I was the producer. I was the salesman. And so this level of resentment starts to rise up. And now, my father's my hero. He's my favorite person in the world. And now I'm starting to resent him. I'm starting to look at things in my own life and saying, why did I stay with the family business? I could have been a career firefighter. I took other tests along the way. I tested all over the East Coast. I had opportunities all over the place, but I stayed with the family business because I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. I was doing it for someone else and not myself. And so as time ticked on, my father was looking to get out of the business. We sat down to talk about it. I was going to buy the company from my father. My 2 brothers and I, we were going to go in on it. We're going through the paperwork. Lawyers, accountants, we're sitting at the table. I'm ready to sign, buy this business. And the night before, my wife says to me, and she's my best friend and rock, I'm not an easy guy. I travel a ton. I'm very opinionated. I talk a lot. She's my rock. And she said, what's up with you? You're different. And I said, I don't know if I want to do this. And then she looked at me and said, then don't do it. I walked away from the family business. I pushed away from the table. I did not buy the company that I built. I had every opportunity to do it. But she said to me, how are you going to keep doing that at this pace? You're working 6, 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day, and now you're going to take on the responsibility of running and owning the business. My home life was falling apart. My relationship with my children was not non-existent, but not great. And I realized that my focus was off. I was doing everything for everybody else and nothing for myself. This isn't a selfish talk. What it is the only way you can be good in life is if you're good in your own life. The only way you can be a good husband is to be good in your own life. The only way to be a good firefighter, a good peer support, somebody that's there for your brother or sister next to you, is if you're good in your own life. And that's going to be a theme that I talk about today in this presentation. So it was time for a change. I missed the fire service. I missed an opportunity to be a career fireman. I would have been a damn good one. I would have loved it. I love the guys. I love going to fires. I love everything about it. So I said to my wife, I said, I think I want to do something different. She said, go do it. We ended up, as I pushed away from the table, we ended up selling the company to a competitor 5 months later. Gave my father his parachute to get out of the business. Gave me an opportunity to work as a technical sales advisor for them. I consult with them on some high-level projects and things like that. But ultimately, it gave me the opportunity to start my own passion. Enter National Fire Radio. National Fire Radio to me is everything that I wanted. And it's funny because the way your journey plays out, you never know how it's going to go. If I went and became a career fireman 27 years ago when I had my first opportunity, I probably would have never graduated college. I wouldn't have my bachelor's degree. I wouldn't have had the life experiences of growing a family business and learning about myself and learning about family dynamic and everything else that goes along with that. So it was time for me to do me. And so I missed being a career fireman, so I said, here's an opportunity. Now, I don't know if I would have ever started National Fire Radio if my life took a different turn. So I'm one of those guys that I don't really have any regrets in life. I have one regret. I got recruited to play Division I lacrosse, and I threw that away in college. That's a regret. That's a regret. Recruited to play Division I ball, and I threw it away because I was fat, drunk, and stupid. That's one regret I have in life. I think that's the only one that I carry with myself every single day, that I lost an opportunity to play D1 ball. Stupid. But that makes me who I am today. So I started National Fire Radio. I said to my wife, the fire service is misfiring. We have problems in the fire service. People are leaving this job. And one of the slides I'm going to talk about, the job is the job. And I'll talk about that in a minute. People are leaving this job pissed off and disgruntled after a long career because they're frustrated. Frustrated with management, frustrated with the new generation. There's this tug of war, pulling back and forth. That's happening. People spend 20, 25, 30 years in a firehouse, and the last 3 years of their career, they're pissed off, disgruntled, their reputation, their legacy is tarnished, and they leave on a bad note. And you know what they do? They take everything with them. They leave nothing behind. It's not how this job works. That's not how we're supposed to do this. We are supposed to lay the foundation for the next generation. We're supposed to pass on our experience, our knowledge, the pedigree that you get over your years of service, of run and runs. You're supposed to share that. And so I noticed that that was happening, and I said, I'm the guy. I can do this. National platforms like Fire Engineering, Firehouse Magazine, Fire Rescue, the landscape is changing, and none of them were innovating. None of them are finding different ways to deliver content on today's platform. Now, rewind a little bit. When I built my family's business, the reason why I was successful was because I started to navigate social media. I learned how to navigate that space, and that built sales. That grew our company on the back of free networks, organic reach, all big things. And that's part of my bigger program when I go into all that. But what I want to say is this. I had the ability to change the landscape of the American Fire Service, and I believed wholeheartedly I could. I found a couple great guys. Rob Ridley is a career fireman in Poughkeepsie, New York, where I rode when I was in college. Sebastian Rollo, bad breakup in life, grew a beard, went out to the West Coast. He's a fireman. Went out to the West Coast, spent 2 months video and photography on the West Coast, came back. I was like, hey, I got this idea. I'm starting this project. You want to jump in? And he's in. I grabbed these two guys, had no idea what we were going to do other than I just wanted to talk to senior guys across the country and capture their stories in perpetuity. I wanted to grab those guys that have things to share, grab their ideas, their thoughts, their experience, and put them out there for other people to absorb, to get it through channels of which they're paying attention. Nobody, I don't care what you say, nobody is reading page 17 anymore. Every fire engineering magazine that came since I was 14 years old, I read it cover to cover 3 times, and I saved every single one of them. Now it comes, I flip to the back page, I read Mike Ciampo's column, and it goes in recycling. That sucks. Think about it. It's a different landscape today. It's a different landscape today. People's attention are in other places. And I said, the existing platforms are not capturing the attention of today. And so I said, we're going to do this. We're going to go after it. One of the biggest things that we had to come across in the very beginning was full transparency, 100% transparent, 100% authenticity. We have to. The fire service is not built on embellishment. The fire service is not built on bullshit. The fire service is built on do. I come out here and tell you I'm a volunteer fireman. I don't say I'm just a volunteer fireman. I'm proud to be one. I know volunteer firemen that are better than career guys. I know career guys that are better than career guys. I know career guys that are better than volunteers. When you have a passion and love for the fire service and you push yourself and hold yourself accountable, I don't care if you get a paycheck or not. I don't care. Some guys do, and that's okay. Those conversations are fun too. I don't care. The thing is that reality is we need all types in this business. But the one thing we can't sacrifice is the level of delivery and service we provide to the people that trust us. And so we can have these arguments behind closed doors about who's better or what. I don't care. And so for me, we had to be authentic and transparent up front because it's the only way I can get the trust of people. I'm super passionate. The way I am right now, this volume all the way up, this is me 100% of the time. There's people in this room that can testify to that. This is me. I'm passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about National Fire Radio. I mentioned it before, the job. We all do it. And that's exactly what I was just talking about. So today through this presentation, it's the job. I just talked about the job. Whether career or volunteer, when the fire's shown, when we're going to work, it's a job. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. It's the job. And I'm guilty. Everything I talk about going forward, I violated. none of us are perfect. When guys stand up and teach, sometimes they come off like they're preaching. I hate when people are like, preach, preach. I'm not preaching. I'm telling you my story. I'm telling you my thoughts, my ideas. I don't want to preach. I want to be like you guys. We're in the trenches. I want to share my passion with you. I hope today, after this conversation, you guys take something from here, bring it back, and talk about it. When I end my podcast, every episode, 500-something episodes now, right? We've been going for almost 6 years. I say, do me a favor, take this conversation, take it back to the firehouse and talk about it. Because when we talk about the job, we're making the job better. I say that after every single episode because I firmly believe that. Ray McCormack, keep fire in your life. These are things that matter. Firefighting is not a job. It's a lifestyle. We live it. Think about who your friends are. Think about what your interests are. Think about what you do and who you hang out with. A lot of it circles around the fire service. This is a lifestyle. You guys wouldn't be here today if this was just a job or you're just a volunteer. You guys wouldn't be here. So I'm guilty. I talk out of both sides of my mouth because I'm human. I'm going to tell you all these things today, and I violated every single thing that I talk about because I'm not perfect. Okay, so this program's bridging the gap, right? We talk about different generations and so on. Okay, so we're going to get into it. The greatest generation, this is the World War II veterans. Impacted by the Great Depression, the majority of soldiers who fought in World War II. These are known as some of the most badass human beings on the planet. If you've ever had the opportunity to sit down with somebody from the greatest generation, they are incredible people. Hard work ethic. They're all in on their country, and they would do anything for their family and their country. So the reason why I'm going to go through this is I want to just educate you about the generations, because through this conversation, bridging the gap, it's how we find commonality and find that middle ground between the different generations, okay? The silent, these 99 to 122, 1901 to 1925. My wife's grandmother is 104 this year. Wow. It's amazing. I'm hoping to make 50. The silent generation, 1925, 1945, 78 to 98. I think I did this slide last year, so we're 1 year off, I think. These people make up the smallest generation due to the Great Depression and World War II. So it's the smallest generation that exists, okay? They are working within the system. They're not rule breakers. They follow, and they're just the silent generation. They don't push. They don't flip the script. They don't try to upset the apple cart. They don't do any of that, okay? So McCarthy-era government, this generation didn't speak about social issues. They were quiet. Baby boomers, you guys are familiar, boomers, right? One of the most relevant generations, modern society. They are hardworking, okay? They're independent. They're often misunderstood, just like millennials. Now, the funny thing about baby boomers, though, is we're going to get there. We'll get there. I don't want to start there. Generation X, this is the best generation. This is my generation. We grew up in the 80s and 90s. I mean, what a time to live. I absolutely loved it. I'm 47. The funny thing about us is we bridged the gap. We knew life before the internet, before cell phones, and then obviously we know life as cell phones and the internet came to this world. So the funny thing about that is we knew what it was like to go out and ride our bikes and disappear all day long and then come home when the street lights came on. Younger guys hear those stories and are like, yeah, whatever, like, don't care. But that was a fact of life. I would get up literally and leave the house all day long in the summertime. My parents had no idea where I was. Couldn't track me, couldn't find me. Other neighbors, other parents in the neighborhood parented us just like we were their own. That's how our society, that's how our generation worked back then. We served as a bridge. We always bridged between young and old because we understood before and after the internet. Millennials, God, no, I say that because I'm a fan of millennials. Most people shit on them. People don't even know what a millennial is. My father's going to be 82 this year, and he's like, damn millennials. I go, Dad, what's a millennial? You know, the kids. Not even close. Millennials are between 29 and 43. Everybody thinks millennials are younger than that. Everybody blames millennials for everything. They're greatly misunderstood and mislabeled. Older people blame them for everything. And everybody believes that they're younger than they are, okay? We're going to get into that and how that connects with the other generations. Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation to be exposed to deal with cyberbullying and internet-related issues. This is the generation that grew up on the internet. It's all they know. Faces down. School violence, large socioeconomical issues. When I grew up, I was innocent, man. You think about what kids deal with today. I think about my kids. So my story, I have 4 children. I have a beautiful wife, Terry. My buddies always say I never mention her by name. I always talk about my kids. I don't ever mention my wife. My wife, Terry's my rock. I mentioned her before. And then my 4 kids. I have Michael, who's 30. Kendra's 28. Paige is 17. Lily is 16. I have 2 sets of kids. My 2 older kids are my stepkids, but they've been mine since they were 5 and 6, so they're my kids. I'm their dad. Their dad's in their life, but I am their dad. They're mine. They've been mine since they were little. And then I have Paige and Lily with my wife, and Paige is 17, she's junior in high school, and Lily's 16, sophomore in high school. And in fact, Lily just joined the firehouse, which blows my mind, and we could talk about that. I wasn't ready for that. Was not ready for that. Still not ready for that. Anyway, but I love it. I absolutely love it, and it's changed our relationship dramatically just in the first few months that she's been a member there. So anyway, my point of telling you about my children is when I grew up, I didn't deal with the things they deal with. When you really start thinking about what our society is and the access to information they have today, I didn't know anything about politics, healthcare, the economy, the climate. I didn't know any of that. 16 years old, 14 years old, 8 years old. These kids are inundated with information today. It's very different today than it was when I was growing up. We come from different backgrounds. Generational backgrounds matter in how we carry ourselves through life. That is part of the disconnect, and we're going to talk about that. And then Gen Alpha. This is the youngest generation. They are the first generation to be born with parents who know the internet. So if you think about that, like my kids, I didn't have the internet until my first email address was freshman year of college, 1995. That was my first email address. So if you think about that, I grew up through high school without email. I had a beeper. We had pagers, right? Job would go out, everybody would page each other, 1075, right, on the pager. You're like, oh shit, we got a job, right? And that would go out before the pagers went off or the tones went off, right? And so on. So it was a different time. This generation, this is all they know. The parents that raised them, they know the internet. That's all they know. And so what are they going to do with their children? They're going to share that with them. They're going to put that in front of them, and they're going to allow them to run on it because that's what they know. Most racially diverse and most technologically adept. Anytime I have a problem, I ask my daughter Lily to help me with my computer, with Netflix, with anything. My kids know more than I do at 16 years old. I have debates with my children at dinner because I'm just an old conservative guy at the table, according to them, and they love to debate me. I never debated my parents at 16 years old. My father would have first off, he would have backhanded me across the room, right? But the thing is this, they are so educated. What I have to do, though, is caution them in their debate with me to, one, listen. Part of debating is listening. Part of disagreeing is listening. We don't listen anymore. We don't allow people to have points of view because your point of view is the only one that matters. We're not allowed to disagree anymore. We've become so polar. We can't have difference of opinions. And if we do, we can't be friends anymore. When you think about I think about my parents growing up, they had all sorts of different types of friends. And I'm sure they didn't believe in all the same things, but they were still friends and they hung out all the time. It's really cool if you think about that, right? I think about my friend group. My friend group is a little more narrow or much more narrow than what my kids' friends groups are. My daughter's racially diverse, ethnicity, religion. Our schools today where I live, where I once had a few black kids, a few Asian kids, a few Indian kids, we had different ethnicities and races in our school, but they were very small, few and far between. Today, my daughter's friends groups are every size, color, shape, religion, whatever you want to add to it, that's what they have. It's beautiful because that's all they know. They don't know anything different. And so they don't look at anyone different. They don't judge. They don't prejudge. And that's a beautiful thing because adversity is important in life. And our children, this younger generation, that's all they know. That's all they know. It makes a difference in their upbringing. Something every generation wants to make it easier for the next generation. This is a saying that I heard on a podcast. I love it. I don't know who the author of it is. I didn't look it up enough to find out who the author is. But hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Let that sink in. It's a cycle. It goes around and around and around. We always want to give our next generation more. I don't want my kids to have the same struggles I had. So what am I going to do? I'm going to coddle them. I'm going to provide more for them. I'm going to spoil the shit out of them. Because I can. And I want to. The problem is, though, is what am I doing? I'm taking adversity out of the picture. They're not having to pick themselves up. My daughter had to get gas the other day. She looks at me and is like, Dad, you got a few bucks? I'm like, for what? I got to get gas. I'm getting pretty low. I'm like, don't you have any money in your wallet? Like, what are you doing? Where's your money? You have money. I don't have any on me, this and that. And I'm like, well, you just got Starbucks before. On the way home from school, you guys stopped at Starbucks. I look at my American Express app, and I go, whoa, $39 at Starbucks today, huh? Would you buy everybody in the car a drink? I do it. They're my kids. I spoil them rotten. But what am I doing? I'm creating an environment that allows them. I'm creating entitlement. We always want to give the next generation more. We coddle them. We take away adversity. We make it easier for them because that's what we want for them. But if you go by what this says here, if we make it easier, we're creating weaker people. We want our children to get punched in the face. At least I do. I think every single kid deserves a black eye. Growing up, hold on, get a little of this. Growing up, I was the big kid on the school bus, and I was a complete asshole. I was a bully. I know that now. I was a bully. One morning, I decided to pick on a kid, Kareem El Taki, Egyptian kid, knocked me out, sent me for a ride. I got knocked out on the school bus, 7th grade. Kid popped me in the eye so hard, I've never been hit like that in my life. I thought I was tough. Kid knocked me out. I had to walk around middle school with a black eye for 3 months. Think about it. Think about that. Fast forward 20 years later, I was the president of our senior class in high school, so I'm putting together the reunion, putting it all together. Everybody comes, we're having a good time. I walked up to the kid. He's standing at the bar. I walked up to him. I said, hey, man, shook hands. We're chatting, small talk. I said, I want to buy you a beer, and I just want to say thank you. He said, for what? And I said, for knocking the shit out of me. I said, that was a moment in life. I didn't realize it then, but I realized it many years later that punch that he gave me allowed me to understand that there's somebody always bigger, better, and stronger. And how dare I try to knock him down? He sent me a very strong message. I firmly believe kids need to fall down. I firmly believe that they need to fall off their bicycle. They need to have back and forth on the playground. They need to get punched in the eye. Because if we don't, the entitlement and coddling will go through the roof. And that becomes problematic. Nobody wants to see their child hurt. I'm not advocating violence. Please, don't think that. But it is very, very humbling in life. And you have to do some self-reflection to really realize that at the end of the day, it changed me for who I am. Now, truth be told, I didn't realize most of this until I started National Fire Radio and I started speaking.
That is really when 6 years ago I started to really go all in on myself and realize I didn't like who I was. I am a very different guy today than I am just 5 years ago, let alone 10, 15, 20 years ago. I'm a very different person today. I cry at movies. I let my feelings show. I love my kids unconditionally. I always have, but it's different now. I'm all in on my wife. I'm all in on family. I'm all in on people. I tip people in New Jersey. We have people pump our gas. I never tipped people before. Now, if I got $2, $3, $4 in my pocket when somebody pumps my gas and the guy says good morning to me and smiles at me, I give him a couple bucks. Why not? If I can afford to do that, I can change somebody's day. You don't know what a smile can do. You don't know what a bottle of water to the homeless guy in the corner can do. I'm not saying you do it all the time. Whatever works for you. What I've come to realize is humanity matters. I have abilities to give. I used to be super selfish and I never gave. I love to give. I love to give now. And if I can, I will. So a couple bucks in that guy's pocket could have changed his day. Maybe he can eat now. The guy's working hard. He's pumping gas. You know he needs that job. What's a couple bucks? I can afford it. I challenge you guys to look at that. I used to look at life in a very selfish way. I used to look at life that it revolved around me. The generations today, this is what we do. You ever see those videos where the people are walking through the mall and they fall in the fountain? Good. They belong in that fountain. I walk with my head up today. I walk with my head up. Everybody walks with their head down. Well, when you walk with your head down, we disconnect. I don't see the look on your face. I don't get to make new relationships. I don't get to give somebody a smile, give somebody a head nod. Something to acknowledge that you exist is important. It's who I am today, and I'm getting emotional. It's who I am today. It's who I am today. I fucking love it. Excuse my language. I'm very grateful for National Fire Radio because it made me who I am today. The one thing we all have in common besides wanting to make the next generation have less struggles is generation firefighter. Age doesn't matter. Understanding and mutual respect does. We don't care who rides with us on the fire trucks. I don't care what size, shape, color. All I expect you to do is to do the job. We have one level of delivery, one level of expectation. I don't care who you are. It's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. We don't care. My friends that are not firefighters, and I don't have many of them, they don't understand that when we have parties and barbecues at my house, I have 16-year-old kids to 82-year-old men at my house and their families. And they go, I don't understand how this works. And I said, of course you don't, because you're not one of us. You're not one of us. You don't get it. You don't get it. When my daughter joined just 2 months ago in the firehouse, she caught me off guard. She's my last kid. I never expected her. None of my kids wanted to ever join. And Lily, who wants to be a corporate attorney, she reads 700 pages a week. This kid is a ferocious reader. She's 100 times smarter than me. And she's like, Dad, I'm ready to do this. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, I want to do this. And I said, but if you're going to do it, you have to do it. You have to go all in. And she said, I'm ready. She was quiet all about it up until, but she's been watching. I think she's seen what has done for me. She's very much like me, and she wants to go all in on it. I couldn't be more proud of her. And I had that conversation with her first night at the firehouse. We came home from training the first night. I said to her, I said, listen, I said, you're no longer my daughter to the guys. You're one of them now. I said, so you're going to be treated a little bit differently than you used to be treated. And that's okay. I said, you're going to have to find your own way. You're not going to ride and sit in my shoes because I don't want that for you. I want you to find your own journey. And I told the guys at the firehouse that she's now one of us. Now, obviously, she's my daughter, so, it's a fine balance there. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, she... Anyway, that's... Her joining really throws off this program in a lot of ways, and this is the first time I'm giving this program after she joined. But anyway, I love her being there, but we had this great conversation back and forth where she really, I'm trying to get her to understand what it's really all about. and I love it. And I'm very proud of her. Does this look familiar? You guys know who these guys are over here, I hope? Okay. How often do we hear, now we're going to get into the conflict, right, between generations and what's happening in firehouses. How are we doing on time? Okay. Shut up, old man. Happens all the time. Young kids have no patience for the older guys. Shut up. I've heard your story. I know about you. I don't care. I don't care what you've done. I don't care how long you've been here. I've been here 6 minutes. I know more than you. Stupid kid. Why are they asking why all the time? Why are they so inquisitive? Why don't you shut up? You're the new guy. Go in the corner and shut your mouth. Don't say anything. You can talk in 4 years. There's still that mentality in the fire service today. There is a misfiring. There's a disconnect. Young is pushing against old. Old is pushing against young. This is happening in every single firehouse, in every single career across the country. And we love to blame. It's always somebody else's fault. It's another thing that we all have in common. If we're going to talk about the generational differences, bridging the gap, we have to talk about the commonality. All the commonality is negative so far, right? It's all negative. We all have this in common. We love to blame. Who likes to accept responsibility for their actions? Nobody. Not anymore. We like to point the finger. You were wrong. Yeah, but. No, but. You were wrong. It's how we handle that is what matters. If you want to blame anybody, blame me. It's fine. We're a social media and podcast platform. We're out all over the place. People are on their phones all the time. This guy's on his phone in the front row. You're taking a picture, though, right? Thank you. Kidding. And whatchamacallit? Phone, internet, social media. It's the downfall of the American fire service. Ever since phones came into the firehouse, the world sucks. We're not firemen anymore. We're not men. Farther from the truth. It's a tool. Do we know how to manage it? Do we know how to incorporate it? Do we know when to be on it and when not to? It's decorum. It's manners. Okay? These things matter. We need to teach it. We need to explain what expectations are so people know what's acceptable and not. Why the disconnect? Foundation, morals, ethics, values, communication, lack of understanding. You guys can read the list. I don't need to go all into it. There's a lot of slides coming up. We're going to go through some of them pretty quick. The foundation. I'm a firm believer in a solid foundation. Just like home, the firehouse needs to have a solid foundation. If you build upon a weak foundation, it crumbles. You get cracks in the wall, side of your home falls off if you don't have a strong foundation. We need to have a strong foundation, block by block. Our roots might be different. We all might come from somewhere different, but our mission is the same. We need to have a foundation that explains to you what the mission is so that when you come in from wherever you come from, we can all get on board with the same mission. That's what matters. It's mission over me. I put a slide up not too long ago. I have a slide about mission over me. Don't get wrapped up that I don't care about you individually. Don't get wrapped up that I don't think you need to have a life outside the firehouse. I posted something on social media and people went bananas, and I love it. I love guys that will take time out of their personal lives to make a bullshit comment on an Instagram post or a Facebook post. What a bunch of losers. And I'm going to talk about losers in a minute. It's unbelievable. And I live this world. I love everything about it. So this is important. My daughter came into the firehouse. I have to have a strong foundation for her. If she comes in and she doesn't know what that foundation is, she doesn't know what the mission is, she doesn't know what the expectations are, how can I hold her accountable for anything? This is a problem for management. And we need to talk about it with management. I did the Joey D seminar 2 weeks ago in Texas. The keynote speaker got tied up, so they asked me to speak. So I didn't have anything prepared. I didn't do this program. I just kind of went off the cuff for like 20 minutes. And there was a lot of brass in the room. And I'm like, you know what? This is a great time to call out the brass. And I went after him. Because I can. Because shit like this matters. And if you don't have a strong foundation in your home or in a firehouse or your fire department does not have a strong foundation, you're set up for losing. You will lose. You will have disgruntled firefighters. You will have a bad culture. The chief here today told you to come here and work here. I want more chiefs like that. I'll work for a guy like that. I will. Morals, ethics, and values. Some of you have none. I'm kidding, guys. It is true in a way, right? I'd like to think that everyone in here does today. But these are things that are important. I can go through each of them. But the issue is this, finding commonality. There's always middle ground. Are you willing to find it? Are you willing to put your ego aside? Are you willing to have conversation? Are you willing to dial in on somebody and listen to their message before you have to speak over them? That matters. And one other thing that is super important to me, doing the right thing is always doing the right thing. Takes bravery. Takes commitment. Doing the right thing is always the right thing. I'm so tired of watching people dismiss one another. The older generation, these guys need this. In the volunteer firehouse, the older guys come back for coffee on Sundays. They come to training night. And I watch these younger kids just absolutely dismiss them. They don't sit down with them. They don't engage them. They don't talk to them. They don't ask them stories. Joe told me the same story. I've been a fireman for almost 30 years. Joe has told me the same story 49 times. And I'm willing to sit down, have a cup of coffee with him, and hear it for the 50th time. Why am I willing to do that, but the 25-year-old kid's not? There's a disconnect. Stop dismissing each other. I'm tired of it. I see it all the time. And it's not just that way. Engage, ask questions, promote, pull someone into the conversation. Yo, get over here. You ever hear this story before? This story's fantastic. Get over here. You know what they do? They get to know the individual, but they also get to learn about the fire department or a fire they had or this or that. And that story can expand and grow. That's where you get buy-in. That's where people enjoy their time together. That is brotherhood. That's commonality. We need it. But it goes the other way too. Asking why. Why aren't we working with them to educate them? They're inquisitive. The younger generation wants to know. Why are we afraid to tell them? I'll tell you why. Because most of the people in positions today that should be telling people why, they can't tell them why because they don't frickin' know. They're not confident in their own skills and abilities. They've moved up the line quicker than they should have. They're not ready for that position. And now they're threatened. Because strong or weak leaders don't have it. And they can't tell you why. So what do? They dismiss you. Hey, Cap, why do we do this? It's the way we've always done it, man. Don't worry about it. That right there tells me that you're a loser. You're not all in on your position. You're not all in on your department. You don't have the answer. Because if you had the answer and you had humility, you would share it with me. You would tell me why. And so you want to know why some of the younger kids are frustrated with management and poor leaders? It's exactly that. They're getting dismissed. They want to know. They are stronger, better, and more educated than my generation. We're intimidated by that. We're threatened by that. We don't have the confidence in our own skills and abilities to work with them, and we're not humble enough to say, I don't know, but I'll find out. That's a problem. That's a problem. When we dismiss each other, God, I get so angry, and I see it every day in my own firehouse. And I do it. So don't get me wrong. Sometimes I don't want to have a discussion or argument, so I just take the easy way out. I get that. But can you circle back to it? Can the next day when you see the guy be like, hey, man, listen, you know what? I thought about it. I apologize. I was short with you. Do you have the humility to do that? That makes a world of difference. I bit a kid's head off at a fire, I don't know, a month or two back. Bit his head off. He was absolutely wrong, in the wrong place, doing the wrong thing. I literally snapped at him. I don't think anybody's ever talked to this kid the way I talked to him. Man, did I hammer him. A couple choice words, and he literally put his head down and walked away. But you know what I did do? I realized I came off on him hard, like super hard. But he deserved it. He deserved it. The situation required strong words. The situation required immediate correction. And I did that. Now what? It's the follow-up. At the end of the fire, take my pack off, change my bottle in the bumper. We're chatting for a few minutes. I see the kid standing over there. I excuse myself from the group I was with. All the high-five and ass slaps were put aside. Went over, and I talked to the kid. And I said, do you understand what you did wrong? Do you understand what happened? Do you know why I came at you the way I did? I want you to understand. I'm not apologizing for what I did. I believe wholeheartedly that my response was adequate to what he did, his actions or lack thereof. But the follow-up takes work. And I was willing to put the work in so he understood what he did wrong. He could have walked away from that fire being like, that guy's an asshole. I'm not dealing with him anymore. Or he disconnects or he pulls away. But instead, I had to go one more step to bring him back. We're all going to make mistakes. None of us are perfect. I said it. I'm guilty. The slide in the beginning. I'm guilty. I've been yelled at. When I was young, I was a shithead. I got yelled at all the time. It's how we grow and mature from that. What are we all lacking? Time. This is, we all know that. I'm going to cruise right through that. Lack of understanding. Adversity can be a huge asset. The younger you are, the more you push back. And I firmly believe with maturity comes clarity. As I have grown up and I've become proud of the man that I am a better person today for it. Respect. Little Aretha. You guys haven't said anything about my slides. I thought my slides are pretty witty. You guys are sleepy. First thing in the morning here. Respect comes from a place of understanding, showing care and interest in others. That means get your head out of your ass and look at other people. Respect them. Give them respect. So often in the fire service, you must respect me. I've been here 29 years, man. Making you uncomfortable right now? No. Good. Good. That's good. 29 years I've been here. Why don't you show me respect? Why aren't you kissing my ass? Why should I? Have you given me a reason to? This is my favorite part here. Respect is earned. That's an old saying in my world. I like to flip this whole conversation about respect. I say we give them respect and let them lose it. That's what I say. When a guy comes through the front door, give him all the respect in the world. Why does he have to earn your respect? Are you that fucking great? Excuse my language. Are you that great that he has to work hard to earn your trust, to earn your respect? Why don't you be a gentleman or a lady and give that person respect? When they come through the front door, shake their hand, welcome them to the firehouse, show them around, give them respect. And then, if they lose your respect, you have every right to do what you need to do. We play this stupid game. It's ego-driven. You got to earn my respect, man. I've been here a long time. Get out of here. What are you kidding me? You're just lazy. You don't want to put the work in. Put the work in. Double down on your people. That's all we have is people. Double down on it. And it's not their fault. A lot of times we blame. I talked about it before, right? We love to blame, but sometimes it's not their fault. If we don't give them expectations, we don't tell them what's expected of them, we don't tell them how to act, behave, and respond, and then we hold them accountable for it? Sounds like you didn't do your job. And now the younger generation becomes the scapegoat because we can blame them instead of looking at ourselves and take responsibility for not doing our job to make them better. I'm kind of cruising through some of these because I know time is ticking by. The more diverse we are, more diverse, the better. I love adversity. It doesn't matter to us. Age, race, religion, color, I talked about it before. Younger generations are much, much better at this. I don't care who you are. Welcome. I'm going to give you respect. I'm going to tell you what I want from you. And when that tone goes off or we break bread, we're all the same. I don't care who you are. Just do one thing. Do the job. We all lack patience today. None of us have patience. We all lack patience, young and old. We all do. We don't take time to enjoy what's in front of us anymore. We're all in a hurry. We live in an immediate society. We don't debate anymore. I always say when I do this program, I'm going to learn who won the 1980s World Series so I can sound smart. I'm not a baseball guy. But the point is this. When we're sitting at a bar stool and we start having an argument back and forth, and we start talking about this, and trivia comes up, what do? We pull out our phones to find the answer. That sucks. That sucks. Have debate. Talk about it. Try to prove each other wrong. That's fun. That's conversation. That's back and forth. I also believe in this too. Easy is fast, hard is slow. We can always go the fastest way because we always do, but is it the best way? A lot of times, hard work takes time. Time makes you appreciate what you have and what you've built, and it makes you different. A lot of times we go all in, we try to go super fast. I know in the fire service, a lot of times what we do has to be fast. I get that. But sometimes on the fire ground, we need to take that half a second too to take in the big picture or analyze or come up with a different way or approach or come up with plan, GHIJK, whatever it is down the road. We need to be patient sometimes, and we need to have understanding of that. Don't rush the process. It's all we do today. Everybody's rushing the process. I don't know what the process is for you. I know what my process is, and I didn't learn that until I was literally like 40 years old. So if I didn't learn that until I was like 40, there's no way in hell at 25 I knew what I was doing. I promise you that. It takes time. We need to marinate. We need to figure it out. We don't have patience anymore for the long game. Firefighting is a long game. Knowledge and experience matters. You can't take shortcuts. We all do every single day. We all do. Again, I'm guilty. We all take shortcuts every single day. But when it comes to being a firefighter and mastering your craft and being the best that you can possibly be, you can't cut corners. You have to put the hard work in. It is a long game. But unfortunately, we want everything now. And so we will do everything at our fingertips to shorten the time it takes to get to where we want to be. The environment, our surroundings influence us. The fire department, the fire company, your community you grew up in. Losers. The world is full of winners and losers. Me? I like to hang with winners. But I never understood that until, again, not too long ago. I think I was a loser for a long time. I hung out with losers, I can tell you that now that I look back at my career. I think about telling the same old story 15 times in a bumper, and those guys have never graduated to telling a different story. Those guys always relive the old days. They don't talk about anything current or exciting in their life today. Look at who you hang out with. Are they lifting you up? Are they asking you about your life? Do they inquire about your family? Do they ask you about your kids? Do they show you something new or different for the fire service? These are people that are progressive. These are people that want to teach and learn. They want to keep moving forward. The problem is it takes work. See, the thing with losers is it's easy. That is why negativity runs rampant, because negativity is so much easier than positivity. For me, I keep talking about my own journey, and I come into a room and I like to walk around and shake hands and introduce myself to people because I truly love meeting people and hearing their story. Because I think I was always like that. I just never figured it out until the last few years, right? Those engagements fuel me to be better. Somebody could be having a crappy morning. I talked about it, and I grabbed a cup of coffee, shake their hand, and just ask them how their day's going. How's it going? How's your booth doing? People coming over to see you? How's this product? Tell me about where you're from. Little conversation matters. Engagement matters. But it takes work. Negativity's easy, man. I can be an absolute loser. I can sit on that front bumper and talk about that fire we had 20 years ago. We can tell the same stories, pick on the same people, talk about the same shit all the time, and never progress and move forward. What is that? Why do you want that? Doesn't it get tiring? I got tired of it. I really did. Now, through the benefits of National Fire Radio, hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that I put into this, I hang with some of the coolest people. I travel the country doing this. I get to talk to rooms like this. Guys and girls that are here because they want to be here. That fuels me to be better. My phone is full of the biggest names in the American Fire Service that 6 years ago, it was a pipe dream that I could even talk to those guys or sit in one of their classes, and now they're friends of mine. I get to travel with them. I'm in their inner circle. That's not done because I'm a loser. I'm a winner, man. Who wants to come along for the ride? All you got to do is put the work in. I challenge all of you to look at that. I challenge you all to look at your careers. Look at what you're doing in the firehouse. Are you leaving on a positive note? Are you walking out the door at the end of your shift or in the volunteer service, walking out after training or after a call, knowing that you gave something, you left something there? Now, I'm guilty. There are plenty of times that I leave the firehouse worse than it was when I got there. There's plenty of times that I make snide comments and walk out the door. There's plenty of times that I didn't give. We talk about balance in life. My life, balance is bizarre. But there's no such thing as balance. It's what works for you. Some days I'm all in on National Fire Radio. Some days I'm all in on my family. 70-30, 60-40, 50-50. I had an incredible conversation last night, an emotional conversation for me, where a gentleman pulled me aside and said, hey, I was listening to one of your podcasts where you were talking about balance. I didn't know it, but my wife was behind me at the time, and she heard that conversation too, and I didn't know she was there. And that led to us having a 3-hour conversation about our balance in life. This gentleman, who I will never forget, thanked me for that I created a conversation in his own world to try to find or at least explain what we do and the balance that we're looking for. The balance is never even. It is never 50-50. There will be days in the firehouse that you are 80% and you leave 20% on the field. There's other days that you'll be 40-60, 70-30. There's no such thing as balance. What I do say is this: make sure you do everything you can on that day that you're there to make it better. It's not going to be perfect every time. You're never going to be 50-50 at home. You're never going to always be even keel with your spouse or with the guys at the firehouse. Some days you have to take more. Andy Starnes tomorrow, deposits and withdrawals. He was on my podcast. He's going to talk about that. That was a moment for me that stuck with me, the way he phrased it. Deposits and withdrawals, just like the bank. Sometimes we deposit more, sometimes, we withdraw more. He's going to talk about that. It's an incredible program tomorrow. I'm kind of angry I'm going to miss it. Balance is difficult, okay? Negativity is easy. You want to be positive? Put the work in. You hang out with losers? I got news for you. You're a loser. What do you want to be? I don't know anybody that says they want to be a loser in life. And you could challenge me on this, and you'd be like, this guy's full of shit. That's fine. I welcome debate. People don't like to have debate anymore because they don't listen. But I challenge you this. And guys, I'm guilty of it. I've been a loser. And maybe tomorrow night I'm going to be a loser again because I'll get caught. And I'll have that conversation where I'm negative. It happens. But do you recognize it, and what do you do with it? This is important to me. I don't know if I stole it from someone. And if anybody knows about this, please tell me so I can give credit. What's really funny is I had this conversation not too long ago. I don't really listen. I listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you know who Gary V is, but he's he got me to start National Fire Radio. He's a podcast entrepreneur guy. Anyway, I only listen to those type of podcasts. I really don't listen to leadership and Firematic podcasts and all these things because for me, with what I do, I don't like to get clouded in my own ideas and thoughts. And a lot of times I think that when people, and I want to talk, I'll go down this road now since we have some time. For me, my brain gets clouded when I do too much reading, too many podcasts, or sit through too many things. Because I like to have original thoughts. My original thoughts are important to me. I spend a lot of time in a car, and that's my thinking space. And if you look at my phone and my notes, I'm like, it's literally takes 10 minutes to scroll through it. So I like to have original thoughts. I think, though, this might have been influenced somewhere. I don't know who it was, and if somebody knows, please. But I believe in the thirds, the rule of thirds, right? We have winners, losers, mediocre, the average, in the middle. The fire service and the brass, oh, the chief left. He was here. He was sitting right here. The fire service needs to double down on winners. We need to kick the losers to the curb, and the winners need to work with the average. We can bring average up. We're not going to bring losers up. Losers are losers, and they're going to stay there unless they're willing to put in the work. The average needs some guidance. The average just needs a little bit of help or a little bit of pull. And winners, double down on them. The winners are what makes your organization great. Why do we focus on the losers? We always focus on the losers. The training ground suffers because everybody has to give attention to the slackers. The training ground has to pay attention to the ones that are struggling. Why aren't we taking them aside, not let them interfere with the regular training, and push those winners to be better? Why are we not pushing the winners? Why are we not doubling down? Why are we not giving every single tool we need to succeed by supporting the winners? You want to know why Frederick County's winning? It's because they have winners. And they're allowed to win. That's important. Nobody wants to go work or volunteer at some loser house. Nobody does. When you look at some of the premier firehouses across the country, I can promise you there's one commonality between all of them. There's not a single loser in that firehouse. Because the losers wouldn't survive. When you go to a well-dialed-in company, losers don't fit in. They don't tolerate it, and they won't stay. Losers hide. Losers talk. They don't do. Double down on the winners. I want to be in a winning company. I want to be the worst guy in the winning company. Because if I'm the worst guy, they could bring me up to be even the better guy. Never think you're the biggest, best, and smart in the room. I used to. I used to think that all the time. I used to think I was so smart and crafty. And then the economy tanked, and everything got taken away from me, and I had to grow up. I promise you that. Be a winner, man. I can't encourage you enough that if you're struggling with this, there's a way to get out. Do the work. It takes work. But again, I am talking to the people that put the work in because you're here today, and I recognize that for sure. I don't know how you feel about it. Some people argue with me about this, and that's okay. The average people, they're there. They want to be there. They might be struggling. Let's pick them up and bring them up to the winner level. The losers, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Don't validate them. Keep moving. Winners create an environment that I want to be a part of. They're focused and driven. Some of the very best that we don't hear from. This fire service is full of winners. There's so many winners across the country that don't have a platform or place to tell their story. Enter National Fire Radio. I want to hang with winners, man. I want to put winners on my podcast. I want to sit down for an hour, hour and a half, a couple times a week with different people and hear their story. Why? Because I want to hang with winners. I'm not going to I put a guy on a podcast once that I didn't do a lot of homework on, and I got a lot of emails and direct messages about the guy was a scam. It's fake. Never happened before. I couldn't believe it. I absolutely couldn't believe it. And I said, and some of the people were coming pretty hard at me. And they're like, I was a huge fan. I don't listen anymore because of this, and that. I sent the message back. I said, hey, man, I can't win them all. I said, if you're going to judge me on one interview, then happy listening elsewhere. You got issues. You're going to take that hard of a stand and come at me and spend your valuable time to tell me that I didn't do you well? Get out of here. It's silly. It's silly. The job's full of winners. Let's give them a platform. The job's full of winners. Your firehouse has winners in it. Hang out with them. Talk to them. Pick their brains. Let them share their knowledge with you. That is how we win. Mission over me. When I talk about this, I'm not saying that you don't matter. Let's just throw that disclaimer out there. You absolutely matter. But the mission certainly matters. And there's one thing that I like talking about in this. If you focus on yourself, the mission doesn't matter. What we do, it's not individual, it's mission driven. When you make decisions based upon your own prejudices, we don't push the mission forward. You have to make decisions based upon what's best for the mission and not yourself. We are an immediate society today. Never before have we focused on ourselves more than anyone else. Remember I talked about walking with your head down versus your head up. We are so introverted in our own stuff today that we don't think about the others around us as much as we once did. So when decision making has to happen, if you constantly make decisions for the best of the mission, you'll never make the wrong decision. Let that sink in. When you make decisions based upon yourself, it becomes selfish. That is where we get in trouble. But when you're making decisions and the decision reflects the positive outcome for the mission, it's the right decision. Doing the right thing is always doing the right thing. We get in the way of that. Does that make sense? If you disagree, I'd love to have that conversation. But it becomes about you. So go out, become a good individual, be a good person. I talked about that earlier. That's important. Be a good person. And if you're a good person, then that transcribes into the firehouse. That transcribes into your own marriage. That transcribes as a parent. Because you can then be a good spouse, a good firefighter, a good father or mother. But you got to be good in your own life first. That stuff matters, man. That's the juice. That is the juice. Mission focused ensures consistency because every decision is based on the whole picture and not yourself. Nancy Reagan, any boomers in here? Gen X, anybody just say no? Come on, somebody shake their head. All right, there's one over there. This was a campaign against drugs. I think it was crack at the time in the 80s, right? Just say no, that's Nancy Reagan. She was first lady. I don't know, some of you probably don't know that. Anyway. I am so tired of the no environment. Say yes. Say yes. Stop saying no. Hey, Cap, can we? Nope. Hey, Chief, what do you think? Nope. What do you think if we do? Nope. What is that going to do for growth? Absolutely. Say yes. You guys get to be here this weekend. You're going to go home to your firehouses full of excitement, I hope. I hope that the instructors and the people that are willing to stand up in front of you this weekend to share some of their story and experience and knowledge will push you to want to do something more at home. And there's nothing worse than when you leave here this weekend, go home, and your own people are like, I don't care. You spent your own money to go there? What are you, an idiot? You took 3 days away from your family to go hang out with a bunch of guys in a basement of a hotel? What are you, dumb? Think about it, right? It happens everywhere. I challenge you this, create an environment where somebody comes back from a weekend like this, you put them in front of everybody and say, what did you learn? Show me what you learned. Tell me. Talk about it. Because when we talk about the job, we're making the job better. Put it out there. Create an environment where guys can go back and share what they learned. But we are so busy to say no because yes allows for free thinking. Yes allows for other ideas. And all of a sudden, the guy that has control no longer has control. A no environment allows for control. And the guys that enforce a no environment aren't confident in their own skills and abilities, and they will do everything to dismiss you and not allow your ideas and thoughts to come into the conversation. We need yes. I challenge you all, if you're a boss, a senior man, anyone in life and in the firehouse, say yes. Try it. It's fun. Hey, Cap, I was thinking, I saw this at a conference. They do a double donut roll. It's 150 off the front bumper with a static. Cool. All right. I don't know if it's going to work here, but why don't we pull the engine out today after lunch? We'll pack it. Show me what you think. What's the worst case scenario? You look like a fool. It didn't work. I told you it wasn't going to work, but hey, we tried it. At least you gave some validation to him being here for 3 days. At least you gave him a place where he belongs in the organization and company. You allowed him to have an idea and to bring it to the table. You just boosted that kid up times 10 versus telling him to take it, go sit in a corner and deal with it. Try it. Hey, guess what, guys? It might be better. Sometimes when you get out of your own zip code, things are better. We don't do it right. I know we all work or volunteer for the very best fire companies or fire department in the world because that's the way it's supposed to be. Get out of your zip code and see how it's done elsewhere because maybe they can help you even be a better department, a better fire company. Be the change. I hear this a lot, guys. I get a lot of people. So being on a national platform like I am, I get a lot of people that send me questions and inquiries, and they're looking for validation or reinforcement. This happens to me all the time, and I literally try to answer every single email and direct message that comes through, and I promise you, it's a lot. And it takes a lot of time at night, typically when my wife falls asleep, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm still laying in bed answering these messages. People look to me in a way because I guess I put myself out there and I share a message like this, and I think it resonates with a lot of people. And so a lot of times the younger guys, and I even get older guys too, share stories with me or look for validation or have a question. It's my duty to answer them. I have to. If I'm willing to do this, then I have to put the work in too. If I can affect a change, like that gentleman sharing that story with me yesterday, I'll take that to my grave. That reinforces what I do here. That reinforces my hustle every single day because I know I made a difference in that guy's life. That shit matters. I expect all of you to do that in your firehouses. I expect all of you to be there for your brothers and sisters. I expect all of you to pick up that phone call when they call late at night. That stuff matters. A guy's going through hardship at home, ask him about it. Lend an ear. Your phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's your buddy who got jammed up because he's going through a divorce and he got a DWI. Be there for him. You got a guy that's having struggles, pick up the phone. He might have a freaking gun in his mouth. He might be having a hard time. It's our job. It's our duty to protect one another. And that's not just on the fire ground. That is in life. I challenge all of you to be there in the tough times for when they need you. We all need help, myself included. There are times that get difficult, and I have a few people I can lean on. You're not alone. You're going to hear about mental health in the fire service. It's a real freaking thing, guys. We all know somebody that's gone too soon. We all know somebody that has struggles. We all know guys that have been through rehab, on their second divorce. They don't have a relationship with their children. What are we doing about it? What are you doing about it? I'm guilty. There's been plenty of guys in my firehouse that I probably should have helped more, been more inquisitive, dropped a phone call to, stopped by the house, but we get so wrapped up in our own shit that we don't care. Or maybe we don't care, it's just we don't have time, or it slips by, or it's not a priority. Let's make each other a priority. Let's make each other a priority. Be the change. Let me get back on track. This is important. Kids are like, hey, I have a culture here where nobody wants to train, nobody wants to do anything, nobody wants to, it sucks. I hate my company, I'm stuck here. I can't move. If a career house, I'm trying to bid out, I can't get anywhere yet. I'm stuck with a crew that just doesn't want to do anything. I'm stuck, and I'm falling out of love with it. I'm in a rut. First off, yes, everybody gets in a rut. Volunteer career, personal life or firehouse, we all get in ruts. We all have struggles. It's how we get out of them, how we maintain them or get rid of them. That matters. So I tell these kids, don't ever sacrifice your morals, ethics, and values. You can be the change. Don't let somebody else blow your candle out. Don't let them tell you how to act, how to be, who you are. Know your identity and be strong about it. That's important. You can be the change, I promise you, but here's the problem. Goes back to a few slides before. Patience. Long game. You are not going to change the temperature or the environment overnight. You come into a company, you get a read of what that firehouse is like, and you're like, this shit ain't for me. This is not my house. But you're there. So you have to deal with it. Deal with it on terms that you can manage. Understand that it's different than who you are. Be empathetic to that. Understand where they come from. But do not sacrifice your morals, ethics, and values for other people. That changes you as a human being, and nobody has the right to change who you are. Community. Okay. King of the Hill? Okay. Sunday nights in college, it was The Simpsons, King of the Hill, X-Files, Chinese food. Every night, every Sunday. Thank you for the chuckles. That means you're in my age group. Surround yourself with people that make you better. Be the dumbest guy in the room. Sit with winners, because the view, I promise you, is so much freaking better. This past weekend, I had dinner with a bunch of rock stars. I'm literally sitting next to Bob Pressler for 3 hours. I'd never met Bob before. I know him. We've like, in passing. Man, I got to sit with him. Mickey Farrell. The weekend before, I had a kitchen conversation for an hour. Chief DiBernardo, Clyde Gordon, Ray McCormack, and me sat at a kitchen table for an hour. My phone rings. It's Steve Sanguidoce, who runs Affordable Drill Towers. He puts on the Joey D conference down in Texas. He calls me. He says, hey, Jay. Jay is my, guys that know me as like personally, I'm Jay, but professionally it's Jeremy. He goes, Jay, I'm headed over to the other training ground. You coming with me? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be out in 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I'm like, calling back. I'm like, Steve, no, I'm not leaving here, man. I go, this experience, I'm not leaving. The storytelling and what I got out of that conversation, that is sitting with winners. That view is different than telling stories from 20 years ago where we beat people up and we tear people down. Winners versus losers, man. The view at the winners table is so much better than the losers. The fire service today offers you more opportunity than it ever has. My early days, we didn't have any of this. There were 1, 2, 3 shows across the country. There were trade journals. That was it. This is a subculture that is now the culture. I've been talking about that more and more. The more I travel, the more I see it. Years ago, we used to hide things like this. Guys didn't talk about going to conferences. We didn't advertise conferences like we do now. We hid from telling people we went because we didn't want to be judged. You know what's really freaking cool now? It's out front. This subculture that was running for years and years of making yourself better, of being positive and excited about the fire service, that it's okay to love the job, as some say. Firemanship matters. You're damn right it does. And now we're allowed to talk about it in public. It's no longer a subculture. And the guys that have been here for a long time know that it used to be a subculture. It is now the culture. And it's infectious. And as you guys go back after this weekend, let it infect other people. And then next year when these guys throw it, I want this room twice the size because everybody else is going to bring somebody back. It's infectious, I promise you. Doing the right thing is always doing the right thing. Fall in love with the process and let the process take hold of you. Spoilership creates entitlement. I do more, so I deserve more. That's always a fun conversation. Guys don't like that conversation. I put in 50 hours a week here, like volunteer house, right? I put in all this time. I repack the hose. I mop the floor. So I'm allowed to break some rules. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because you do more doesn't entitle you to jack shit. It doesn't give you the right to break a rule or be different than anybody else. An organization survives on the rules and guidelines that are put forth. It's your integrity, it's your character, why you do what you do. Don't do things for the looks. Don't do things because you want the accolades. Do them because it's the right thing to do. So if you want to repack that hose bed on a Saturday morning when you're there because you're bored, do it. Don't look for praise. You want to clean the toilets? Do it. Don't look for a thank you. We do everything today for the accolades. People go hiking just to take pictures for Instagram. Think about that. That's not my line. I stole that. But I heard that on a podcast. And I was like, that's why I don't like doing that, because I steal people's shit. People go hiking to take pictures to post on Instagram. That's insane. It's the same thing in the firehouse. People do things for the accolades and looks. They want to be recognized. They need validation. I get it. It's the world we live in today. I have this whole thing that I've been crafting in my head about the validation fire service, and that's where we are today. It's the permission-based fire service. Years ago, we just did it. Now we're asking for permission to do it. Engine 1 to command, we're stretching the line now up the second floor. We're going to turn right, go down the hallway with the line. We're flowing, blah, 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 blah. Years ago, we just stretched the line, put it to the fire, and put the fucking fire out. Now we're telling everybody what we're doing and how we're doing it. It's almost like we're asking for permission that it's okay to do it. We've created helicopter officering. I'm going to trademark that, I think. Helicopter parents, they hover. They don't let their kids fall down. They don't let their kids get a black eye. They don't fall off their bikes because the mom and dad are there to pick them up. Don't fall, honey. I got you. I'm going to wrap you in bubble wrap. That's what we've been doing. Our officers are doing that to our people. We don't let our people work. We put people through the fire academies. We teach them, train them, give them every opportunity and tool they need to do their job. Why do I have to then tell them how to do it? Well, maybe because you lack your own skills and abilities. Maybe you're in the wrong position. Maybe you don't know yourself. And so it's easier to say no. It's easier to helicopter over your firefighters than let them run. Firefighters need to run. We need to work. And we need bosses and management that allow us to be firefighters. If our organization gives us every single tool and ability to do our job, then let us do our job. That is directed right at chiefs and officers. Let your people work. They want to. Sorry I'm yelling. I'm just passionate about it. I get fed up with it. It's crazy how we have to ask for permission and look for validation to do our job. We got to get past this nonsense. This is the stuff that's tearing this job apart. We can do better. This subculture needs to be the culture. And this culture will push this job forward. I don't subscribe to the fact that the fire service is falling apart. I don't subscribe to the fact that this job is not the same. It's different. It's always going to be different. In my 30 years, it certainly has changed. But I can tell you this, 30 years ago, I wasn't in a room like this. This is exciting. I think we're in a good place. It's just different. Are we willing to adapt ourselves to be a part of the process? This keeps going, blah, 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 blah. Accountability, stop playing defense. We pull people out too early. Integrity, honesty, character. Who are you as a person outside the firehouse? I talked about that. Be a good person. I promise you life's better that way. I promise you. There are guys that I know growing up in the firehouse that are no longer there, that were schemers. They were guys that you couldn't trust. There were guys that always we talked about behind closed doors or at the bar. Those guys exist and we know that, but I already classified them as losers. Don't waste your time on them. Push them to the side and move on. Don't be one of them. Be good in your own life. I promise you, when you're fulfilled in your own life, everything is better. Expectations, well, expect your people to work. I hit that pretty hard. Give them the tools and opportunities to do it. Tell them how you want it done. And the expectations are there, and your people are now free to work. In leadership, never, ever in the history of the world have we had more books, podcasts, classes, and everything else about leadership. You know how you become a good leader? Time, experience, knowledge. We cannot rush the process. So you can listen to every leadership class, you can read every leadership book, you can listen to every leadership podcast out there. Anything that you believe that you haven't done yet is theory. That's it. Until you do, it's theory. If you've never fought a high-rise fire, if you've never been on the roof of a flat roof to cut it, if you've never had to stretch a 2.5 into a warehouse, whatever the situation is, if you've never done it and you only read or heard about it, it's theory until you do it. You have to do. Leadership comes from doing. It comes from being in the trenches, putting the time in, learning the craft, learning people, and then you can proceed forward. Don't rush the process. Everybody wants to rush the process, and everybody's looking for help in how to be a leader. In the fire service today, more people want to talk about culture and leadership than they do strategy and tactics. What are we doing? We should be talking about strategy and tactics 90% of the time. The culture should be dialed in. We shouldn't even have to talk about it. In leadership, when you're ready, you'll know. But instead, everybody wants to rush the process. We want to talk about culture and leadership and not about stretching and throwing. Our priorities are skewed. Our fire service is focusing on things that we should already have handled. Let's worry about going to fires, saving the people we're sworn to protect, and all the other shit should be in balance already. And if it's not, get your house in order. Do better. All of us. It takes work because it matters. That's it, guys.
National Fire Radio.